Alright, I usually don't make videos like this. I prefer making positive videos with constructive criticism and ideas for improvement. But since this is 8K special and something of semi-unhinged rant, I will allow myself to be a bit crazy in this video. So, Bo-Katan cries. God damn it, I hate her. The only way to fix her is to slowly lower her into a pit of lava, feet first. Now, to be clear, I hate the character specifically, not the actress who plays her. I kinda feel dumb for saying this, but some people will accuse me of hating the actress rather than the character. So, to be clear, I am impressed with Katie Sackhoff's work, both as a voice actress and actress. She has an impressive career, and I honestly wish her the best. But we are not talking real people here, we talking fictional characters. And Bo-Katan is a goddamn disgrace, and the fact that she was made into a heroine makes my bones ache.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And the reason for it is quite simple. She started as a traitor, terrorist, and member of a fascist organization, and never got a proper arc to justify being shown in positive light. Now, I know that some of those descriptors I just used are buzzwords that are overused, but sadly they fit the reality of a character. And I will explain why I used those words to describe her point by point.
Traitor!
Bo-Katan is a traitor because she betrayed her sister, her own clan, her own blood. During the civil war on Mandalore, when it came to a decision to choose her own family or a bloodthirsty warlord, she chose a warlord. I know that Pre Vizsla was charismatic and she was young when she joined the Death Watch, but come on! Betraying your own family?
Family.
Not something most people would do, especially when your family, possibly your only family, for we don't know much about their parents, nor if they had other siblings, is fighting for the chance of peace and prosperity of Mandalorian people, when the guy you decide to follow is a bloodthirsty warlord with visions of grand revival of Mandalorian warrior culture. The same culture that transformed your world into a goddamn wasteland. Bo-Katan, no joke, looked at her sister, who called for peace to stop the endless warmongering ways of the Mandalore, to stop their civilization from self-destructing, then looked on Pre Vizsla, who decided to triple down on Mandalorians being war-obsessed, self-destructing civilization, and chose the path of a bloodthirsty warrior.
You are made of stupid.
How stupid and brainwashed you need to be to choose this path. She wasn't forced, she downright joined the Death Watch. I mean, as far as I know, she was angry that her sister, rather than her, got the title of a Duchess. So, instead of being a support her sister needed, she decided to join fucking terrorist.
What kind of terrorist? A terrifying terrorist.
Because Death Watch are terrorists, fascist terrorists at that, which makes it somehow even more fucked up. They have fanatical, cult-like mentality, with charismatic, supreme leader who has a vision of going back to good old days where Mandalorians killed, pillaged and probably did many things that I can't say on YouTube on a scale and depth of brutality that would make Waffen-SS and KGB shiver. And Bo-Katan wasn't just a member, she was a lieutenant of Pre Vizsla. By the time of the Clone Wars, she was basically his right hand. She took part in planning terrorist attacks on her own people, and she was excited at the thought of dismantling government created by her sister and establishing a militaristic fascist dictatorship with no other than micro-dick dictator Pre Vizsla as the leader of Mandalore. How do you even justify this? If you had to choose between family and a terrorist fascist death cult, which one would you choose? Because Bo-Katan chose the fucking terrorists! Killing her own people, possibly killing her own sister, was acceptable as long as the Mandalore returns to the self-destructive ways that brought it low in the first place.
Long live the king.
Like, I understand the criticism directed towards Satine and her extreme variant of pacifism, but the only other alternative are literal terror fascists. So, sure, I would prefer a third option, but since there are only two, I'm going with pacifists. They seem to have more constructive vision of a future. Hell, Bo-Katan didn't had to agree with her sister. She could have kept to her warrior ways, but rather than terrorist, be a protector.
I'm Batman.
A vigilante. Not an honest to every single god and goddess that was and will ever be worshipped on this earth terrorist. So, Bo-Katan Kryze is a bloodthirsty traitor, terrorist and fascist, a willing member of an organization that promises nothing but death and destruction in the vision of a future of Mandalore and her people. But that's not all. You remember how she acted around Ahsoka? A minor and apparent fiancé of a guy who wanted to become Death Watch ally? I know everyone remember how she slapped her ass, but what she did before, grabbing Ahsoka by the face and inspecting her like a product? Kinda fucked up, people!
FBI, open up!
In the same episode, it is shown she is okay with torture of droids. Like, I know that droids aren't treated well in Star Wars Galaxy, but there is actual difference between not treating droids well and torturing them for fun. So yeah, she is a sadist, even if she tries to hide it by torturing droids only. That's still sadism. Oh, and she took part in a needless and senseless slaughter of innocent civilians of a random village.
Oh boy, here I go killing again.
Because what? Isn't that what honorable warriors of Mandalore do? Slaughter innocent civilians to prove their strength and power? Because someone is weak, it means they need to be killed by the strong? Oh yeah, this sounds very honorable. Why don't you pat yourself on the back there, Bo-Katan? Seriously, how the fuck can anyone see her as a heroine after the shit she pulled? I mean, the burning of that village came straight out of a Nazi book. That's how they torched villages of inferior Slavs in the Soviet Union. They slaughtered thousands because they were different from them. And so did Bo-Katan cries. When Deathwatch took over Mandalore through underhanded tactics and by working together with Shadow Collective? Because what? Isn't it Mandalorian way to unleash the worst criminal syndicates in the galaxy upon your own people only to save them in a stage crisis?
Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't fret over every egg.
I mean, fuck me sideways! Mandalorians of the Old Republic were bloodthirsty bastards as well, but at least they took their enemies head on! They went after the bigger fish, a worthy foe! But they were reduced to a stage crisis to get even a sliver of legitimacy. And when they took over, what did Bo-Katan do? She became mouthpiece for Pre-Vizsla, spreading lies and propaganda. Joseph Goebbels would be proud. But you know what? I would be ready to accept it all, because there was a potential for a redemption arc, that she recognized the madness of her ways, that she snapped out of it, and the rest of her story would be working hard to atone for what she had done.
Hans, are we the baddies?
It would be a challenge, transforming a traitor, terrorist, and fascist into a likable character is a tall order, but I believe that it could have been achieved. Hell, it would make her compelling, struggling with her own demons, with what she had done, confronting the reality what kind of monster she was. That's a kind of story I fully approve of. A person that fell into a pit of radicalism only to crawl out of it in order to become a better person. There was a potential there, which wasn't just wasted, it was shut upon.
Skip it up and down.
Forget the potential of atonement and working to change your ways. No, the instant solution for making Bo-Katan into a heroine isn't a change of heart, isn't realization that she was wrong, that she betrayed her own family and put her people on the path of destruction. No, none of that. The path to heroism is racism.
Xenos.
I am not even joking. Bo-Katan is suddenly treated as a good guy the moment she chooses to stand against Maul after the former Sith Lord takes down Pre-Get-Bent Vizsla. And she does it against Vizsla very wishes. He himself was obsessed with might makes right ideology, so the moment Maul defeated him, he proven himself worthy ruling Deathwatch and Mandalore. Vizsla, the guy who Maul killed, recognized Maul's right to take the throne of Mandalore. But not Bo-Katan. Why? Because racism. Because no outsider will rule Mandalore.
Oh no, this can't be. It says I'm 102% African with a 2% margin of error.
Kenobi!
She saw a guy with a different skin color and horns on his head taking position of Mandalorian leader, said hell no, and suddenly, poof, she is on the side of the good guys. Truly, racism is a virtue. With one act of true discrimination, she is now fighting side by side with the good guys, defenders of freedom, peace, and
Democracy!
even Ahsoka, who witnessed Bo-Katan take part in the merchant slaughter of innocent villagers, teams up with her, no problem, even have friendly banter with her and shit. All of this gets even dumber when you remember that being Mandalorian doesn't require you to be human. There are non-human Mandalorians, so canonically there is no reason for Maul to not be leader of Mandalorians. So Bo-Katan not accepting Maul isn't even Mandalorian thing, it's her thing. She is just a raging racist, and a murderer, and a terrorist, and a fascist. And then Disney makes her leader of a fucking Mandalore? Oh, come on! Really? Oh, yeah, that's a good example to every woman and girl out there. Remember, if you are a murderous, fascist terrorist and traitor to your own family, you can also become head manager of a dying, self-destructing society. I know that many of my fans are waiting for me to propose some kind of narrative addition here to fix the character and the plot, but I draw a blank. I can't fix this character. I would need to rewrite her entire story. Add moments of doubt and uncertainty regarding Pre Vizsla and his vision of Mandalore, her not being his literal top lieutenant and right hand, adding more scenes between her and her sister, acknowledging the relationship between them, and even with all that, I have no idea what to do with Maul taking over as leader of a Death Watch. This character is just fundamentally broken. In short, I hate Bo-Katan cries. I think she was badly written and her existence sends a bad message. I'm not even going into her depiction in the Rebels, which is also all over the place, not to mention the Mandalorian series, because they are secondary. The core of her character are her actions and decisions before and during Clone Wars. And with rotten foundations, so is everything else that arrives later. I mean, the only good thing in Rebels was her first appearance where she refused to take up the Darksaber, saying she had her chance to rule and failed. But then the creators changed their minds and she ended up with a symbol of leadership once more. Only to lose it again, which leads to the plot of Mandalorian series, where she once again gets the mantle of leadership.
Oh, fucking do it again.
Frankly, I don't care anymore. Mandalore is dead and Bo-Katan killed it. She had multiple chances to rule Mandalore and failed every single time. Amusing, really. She worked so hard to dethrone her sister, yet couldn't achieve half the things she had done. So much for the strength of Mandalorian warriors. Shows which one was stronger and more competent of the sisters. It's all so incredibly twisted and broken. I don't know what to do with this character. On one side, she is sexy and I want her to sit on my face.
If we win, I'll sit on your face!
But on the other hand, I don't want to be sat on by a fucking terror fascist. Anyway, that's it. That's the rant. Like, comment, subscribe, all the jazz. Support me through Patreon, donate on Ko-fi. Thank you all for 8,000 subscribers, and I hope we can grow even more. But that's it for today. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed. Now, my dear viewers and listeners, remember, wherever you are, whatever you do, try to enjoy yourself while you can. I wish you most heretical day. Ta-ta!